It was a rainy evening when Ayan saw her for the first time. The sky was gray, the streets wet, and yet she stood there under a broken umbrella as if she didn't care that the world was falling apart. Her name was Meher, and from the very first glance, something about her made Ayan stop and stare. She wasn't smiling, but her eyes told 1,000 stories, stories of pain, strength, and quiet courage. They met through a mutual friend at a small cafe. Meher barely spoke, and when she did, her voice was soft and calm, almost like she was afraid her words might disturb someone. Ayan, on the other hand, was full of life, always talking, always laughing. They were opposites in every way, yet somehow, that's what drew him closer. Over the next few weeks, Ayan found excuses to meet her again. Sometimes he would text her just to ask about her day. Other times, he'd show up with her favorite coffee, pretending it was coincidence. Slowly, Meher started opening up. She told him about her love for painting, how she loved the smell of rain, and how she once dreamed of becoming an artist but gave it up when life got complicated. One night, while they were walking by the riverside, Meher suddenly stopped and looked at him. Her eyes were glistening in the dim light. "Ayan," she whispered, "you'll regret choosing me." He frowned, confused. "What do you mean?" She sighed. "I'm not like other girls. I don't believe in fairy tales anymore. I don't know how to love someone the right way. My past has broken me in ways I can't explain. You deserve someone better, someone who can love you freely, not someone who's still trying to find herself." Ayan looked at her quietly for a moment. Then, he smiled softly. "Meher, maybe I don't want someone who's perfect. Maybe I just want you, the way you are, with your broken pieces, your fears, and your dreams. Because sometimes, the broken ones are the ones who teach us what love really means." For the first time, she didn't know what to say. Tears rolled down her cheeks, but she smiled, a small, trembling smile that said more than words ever could. Months passed, and their bond grew stronger. Meher started to laugh again, to paint again. Ayan would watch her, proud of every small step she took toward healing. He never rushed her, never asked her to change. He simply stood by her, holding her hand when the nights got heavy and her past came back to haunt her. But love, no matter how pure, isn't always easy. Life began testing them in ways they couldn't control. Meher's health started to decline. The same strength that once lit up her eyes began to fade. Doctors ran tests, but the news wasn't good. She had a heart condition that had gone unnoticed for years. When Ayan heard it, he refused to believe it. "No," he said, "there must be a mistake. She's getting better. She's happy." But deep down, Meher already knew. She'd been feeling it, her tired breaths, the quiet ache in her chest. Still, she smiled and pretended to be fine. One day, when Ayan visited her in the hospital, Meher looked weaker than ever. Yet her eyes still carried that same warmth. She held his hand and whispered, "Do you regret choosing me now?" Ayan's voice trembled as he replied, "Don't you dare ask me that again. If I could live 1,000 lives, I would choose you every single time." Tears fell down her cheeks, and she whispered, "You always say the things my heart wants to hear." Days turned into weeks. Ayan stayed by her side through everything, through the pain, the sleepless nights, and the silent prayers. He read her favorite books, played her favorite songs, and told her stories about the future they'd planned, the house by the sea, the art studio she'd fill with colors, the little garden she wanted to grow. Then, one quiet night, when the world outside was asleep, Meher closed her eyes and whispered, "Thank you, for choosing me." Ayan squeezed her hand and whispered back, "Always." That was the last word she ever heard. After she was gone, Ayan was never the same. He stopped talking as much, stopped laughing like before. But he kept his promise. He built that little art studio by the sea, filled it with her paintings, her favorite books, and her memory. Every morning, he would sit by the window with a cup of coffee, staring at the horizon, as if waiting for her to return. People often asked him why he never moved on. He would smile faintly and say, "How can you move on from someone who taught you what love truly is?" Years later, one of Meher's paintings was displayed in an art gallery. It showed a girl standing in the rain under a broken umbrella, just like the day they met. At the bottom of the painting were the words, written in her handwriting, "You'll regret choosing me." And just below it, in Ayan's handwriting, were the words, "Never." When people saw that painting, they felt something deep, something raw and real. They didn't know the whole story, but they could feel the love, the pain, and the unspoken goodbye hidden behind those two simple words. And maybe that's why Ayan's reply broke millions of hearts, because it wasn't just about losing someone. It was about loving someone so deeply that even loss couldn't take that love away. For Ayan, Meher never truly left. She lived in every sunset he watched, in every raindrop that touched his face, and in every heartbeat that reminded him he once loved someone who changed his world forever.